Okay, in an attempt to not bore myself to sleep, I'm going to try and make this as short and sweet as possible. In the past, I've taken 25 minutes to explain the building of a 7-minute project. Somehow it just develops morphs into more time. So, this, in that attempt, here we go. These are the parts that you'll see in the kit. Come in a box. This encompasses everything. There's some hardware. There's a screw or a Allen head bolt and a hex head nut. 2 neodymium magnets, and that's about it for the hardware. This is a glue together kit, tongue and groove or mortise and tenon. All fits together one way. At least as far as I can get it to fit together one way when I designed it. Anyway, these are the slots that will give you COG positioning in the aircraft. The Avanti is wide open. I mean, it's a huge battery compartment. Should have no issues with it. Really, any size battery. This is specifically built for the Avanti. This pattern, outside pattern, fits right into the aircraft. This is forward. This is aft. The markings on all pieces of plywood that matter have an F. I give you 2 gates just because I had the acreage in plywood to be able to do that. These pieces fit together with these pieces and get glued into these holes that form a T shape, like that. And that slides into those holes, or into these T-slots, like that, and that moves in the aircraft forward and aft. Thus, right now we're going to build this. This is a deck. This is what the battery will strap to eventually with sides on it. So, without further ado, let's do the cartridge. That's what your pile ought to look like for parts for the cartridge, which is the most complicated part of the whole thing. This is a wrench for the side, or for the hex head nut that comes in the kit. Okay, so those are pieces and parts. So what we're going to do is we're going to find the F's which means forward, on the cartridge deck itself. We're going to put them all together, make sure they all fit, and make sure that it's going to go together without hesitation when you glue it. You basically start with that. So let's do that. It's kind of a neat thing to do. You know, you may need to sand a little bit of the burrs off the plywood, but generally it'll come pretty sharp. Depends upon the moisture of the plywood. Anyway, this is what we start with. I like to do it this way. I kind of tilt them out a little bit. Probably won't work on camera, but we'll give it a shot. Medium CA is the best thing to use. Just give it a liberal dose of in between the joint. That way you're covering both. And you want to do that one there. Whoop. That one like that. And that gets it just where you want it. And it's going to start leaking onto the thing, so a good idea to do is put a piece of wax paper down, or my handy dandy piece of steel, so you don't glue yourself to the table. So the front one, tilt forward into the gap, build sailboats this way with pre-cut plywood. So it comes all together. And I have a little heat blowing on the table because it's winter. Not much of a winter in California that we ever get, but it's what we get. So to help it along, especially in winter, I've got a little heat shrink gun that I use just to help cure the CA. Yes. Watch out, it'll get you. Gas is burning off the CA, or get pretty nasty. something like that, and that, and that. Kick it. Pretty good to go. So I like to make sure that everything's really tough, the joint-wise, because this is going to be holding your 5,000 or 6,000 battery, milliamp hour battery, and it would be bad if this came apart. So it's up to you to make sure that you are confident in your glue joint. So I take a little something or other piece of scrap plywood and mash it into the seam. Don't glue yourself together. I do regularly. This you'll sand off and wax in a step down the road here. So heat it. Connection's crapping out, of course. Kick it. Let it set. There we go. And if you feel like it, and this is dry, what you want to do is help it along by creating a little dust powder, or sawdust or sand dust. And that'll get whatever is wet into the joint. Thusly. So that's a major amount of glue that we're using there, so I can get rid of this because it's bad for contrast. So I like this kind of sepia tone background. Anyway, so where did that cartridge go? This is what we want to do next, this part. It looks like that. It T-slots in as I showed before. I think this comes with the flight line. These are good Velcro straps. I like them. I already got them, but I think they came with a flight line anyway. And with the kit, I'll include Velcro dots, male and female, and put those on the bottom of your batteries. And they help shear. They won't let the battery slip forward and back, and the strap keeps it down, so it's an added feature or an added safety. I put a little piece of scrap foam in front of the nut on the back side, so if you doing something on the runway or come down a little hard, the battery's not going to punch a hole in itself with the nut. Not really critical, but that's what I did. This feature, pink hands, good God. This is a magnetic latch on the gate. The forward is forward, or forward is towards the front of the aircraft, and so is that F. You'll have to focus yourself. So the magnet holds it in, and it's locked in wherever you decide to put it on whatever slot works out for you in CG. Anyway, the next step is to put the T pieces in the bottom. And what happens here is it's kind of a one-way deal, only goes together one way. Put these T little guys on the end here. And it's all cut with a tolerance of plus or minus 10 thou. So that goes on there. These go in the hole. And what you want to do is you want to make sure they're flat with the world. They want an even space on either, they want to be parallel with the bottom of this deck. So you put it in there like that. You look down. Oh God, where is it? You look down, and you want this area of the deck such that it's even on both sides. Okay, so that's good. We'll make sure the feet are straight up and down, parallel, or at 90s to the deck. Spread them out a little bit. And this is super critical. This is where you don't want it to come apart. This part fits in here to stop or give you a tighter tolerance on the slot once it starts moving back and forth in there. You don't want it to do a lot of that. I don't. I like it nice and tight. Anyway, so that's where those go. I'll take it apart. So dry run everything. Put it together in a dry fit. Make sure it's all going to work for you. And just start touching glue to here and there. You know, here, here, and that's probably pretty good to start with. So, gotta hope I'm getting this in. There we go. And then there. Come on, fingers, don't fail me now. There, scrape that glue forward. There. Oy. There. There. And stand it up there. Get them. Put a little bit in there. Put them apart a little bit. Okay. So that's all together. Now you want to put that down. You want to glue at all junctions, just because it's going to form a hard little rock of CA afterwards that won't come out of the aircraft. So around the hole. Whoa, too much glue. Okay, so put it in there and drive it down flush. Before it gets too dry, you want to make sure you're flush with the inside, with this edge of the deck. Those things are flush. That's going to give you plenty of room underneath, or the exact amount of room. It's 3 millimeters plus about 20 thousandths to clear the bottom edge of the deck, sliding back and forth. Okay, check for alignment. I need to go a little bit over that way. It's easy to move at this point. Just line them up with your eyes. Your eyes are best. You know, you just, so they're even, nice and even. Side-eye, side-eye. So, put some more glue on there, down the side. Careful here, you don't want to put too much glue. You want to get a good seam, but you'll end up, get too much here, you'll end up sanding it off. And I hate sanding. I hate it. Okay, so that's the next part to go on. You want to touch the glue in here, touch the glue in here. Slap that in there like that. Make sure they're lined up nicely, because, you know, less sanding. It's always the trick. Like that. Glue, a little mash around, mash it into the hole. Definitely don't want this part coming apart. Next we're going to do the gate. So these little things are stronger than you can imagine. These little neodymium magnets. Nut in here. Yeah, forward again. The screw starts. Just start it with your fingers and follow it with your favorite handy dandy Allen wrench that should have been on the table. Screw it in there like that. Should have done this first. Famous last words. Okay, scrape it off of there. Start it in the hole. There's a taper angle to a laser cut, and you'll see that right there. But not to worry. We'll go together nice. Make it tight. It'll loosen up over time. That nut on there, or that wrench on there. Crank it down. Nice. Always tighten that up a little later. Well, not really, because then you put I put CA on the nut to not stop it from backing out of there. Shove that in the hole, back it out of there, back it down, shove that into the hole. And if you're deft enough with the CA, which I am from time to time, glue that side. This way you use medium, it won't wick into the hole so fast. And so, wick that side, and you're golden. You just make sure that works, wick it into the hole, push it into the hole a little bit. And if you're lucky, dry a little bit. If you're lucky, it won't glue itself together. And if you aren't, well, you're just hosed. So do it in whatever way you feel it's going to work for you. But see, I like that nice snap. Okay, so you're nice and clean on this side, and lots of glue on the other side. Sanding, there's never enough sanding that you can do. There's the phone. We're just going to have to wait. Deburr everything. As in life, life will deburr you. So the more deburring you do here, these little edges, the smoother it's going to fit in the aircraft. Not give you a bunch of grief. You're not going to be hunting for the hole. I'm going to sand these edges because it just smooths the whole process. Top and bottom, both sides. Like so. You just want to do as much as you can outside the aircraft to get it working as smooth as possible. Just because that's how I found that it works. Oops. So yeah, that's better. I like that a ton. Okay, what makes it even easier is your wife's furniture polish. Furniture polish used to be good. Now it's water-based. And it kind of sucks. If it dries, it's a waxy thing. So, this is the range of CG you'll get in the aircraft. Like that. That, you place it there. Place this other one. Thusly, kind of in the same neighborhood as that one. Take a little glue. Well, actually, let's burnish them down first. Put the sharp end of that away. Heat it up and burnish it down to the wood. Looking good. I cheat. There's stick them on the back of these Velcro thingies, but this way. Okay, so we've got a Turnigy 5000, pretty representative of, you know, a good sized battery for this thing, and I've got Velcro all over it because it goes in several aircraft. So there you have it. So furry side, or male side, Turnigy 5000 goes in the battery tray. Oops. Let's put this down in there like it's going to go. I use the middle slot, but there's a slot forward and aft, and you can use both, or the end ones to hold your battery in there good, or well, or more securely. So we'll see if I got that spacing right. Yeah, pretty good. Oh, no. There we go. So that's what it wants to do there. Strap it in. Actually, if it goes over here, you can fight that strap too much. Tray needs to be countersunk for the flathead screws that come in the kit. And I cheat. I use a spotting drill, but just give it a little countersink if you can. Hopefully that was on camera. See that? Okay. This part's pretty straightforward. We're obviously looking down and into the battery bay of the Avanti S, and I've removed the old tray that came with it. Here's the wiring trough, and there's an extra wire for the bucktooth light on the tail for tail lights. That's another video. Anyway, make sure your wires are all down in the trough, just clear, and you can tape them down. I didn't find a need to, and so we put the tray in. Pretty straightforward. There's some nice foam. Well, the foam jumps up about 3 millimeters over and above the existing plywood that stays in the aircraft, the part that you're going to screw this to. So you plop it down in there, pretty straightforward, and move the back end of it down back here. Oops, big paws out of the way. Back here, back to the back of that foam, just butt it up on the foam, and down you go with the screws. It's pretty straightforward. Get the screws in, start one. You know, I've already put this tray in here, so mine's going to line up already, but you just want to get one going. Make sure you're even here and here, here and there and there. Pretty good to go. And you know, you just put the rest of the screws in, which I'll do off camera. And with the magic of the editing room mouse, I'm finishing up the screws. And there you have it. Something else I wanted to mention is when you're putting your tray in for the first time, the foam is going to be flush, or at least you know, close to the bottom of the tray. So what you want to do is you want to push the gate in and push it down into the foam. And what that does is kind of a cool effect. Is it has it helps secure the gate even more. You know, it's got its own custom little indent into the foam. So just be aware of that. Push it down to the magnetic, to the magnets engage each other, and you're good to go. I fly at slot 4 with a Cartridge 5000. I think that battery's in the neighborhood of 750 grams or so. You go back as far as you want to remove foam. There's a lot of room back there, and shouldn't be a problem. Anyway, that completes the installation video, and I hope you have fun with it. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the thread. I feel free.